people can do it. We actually all can, which I think is really cool. You know, of course, if we help develop new consultants, there's points for that. So it's really straightforward. If you go to your back office, there's actually a little link that's frequently asked questions, and it explains it perfectly. And basically, I just explained it to you. But some people learn through this way, visually talking. Some people learn through reading. For me, I need to hit it both ways. So depending on what kind of learner you are, that's the angle you should go at it. I'm happy to answer any questions with it, but it's pretty straightforward. Just earn some points, win some stuff. And it's 3 tiers. So you can earn all 3 tiers. Just the more you enroll, the more you help people enroll, the more people rank advance, the deeper the tier you get. It's up to 3 tiers. And then there's big money at the end too for people too. So I love it. It's exciting. And I love it that it's every one of us can do it. It's again, it's not going to be a winner. We're our own winner. So it's kind of cool. So that's what I have to say about that. Does anybody have any questions about it? This is a cool glass. My friend made it. Hand-blown glass. Isn't that cool? All right. So my next thing that I was going to talk about is, I mean, let's face it. We're all running around with our heads cut off half the time. I have 2 kids, involved with a lot of things. I have another job. I do body work. And so I was just going to talk about, what do you do if what you have is 1 day, 1 hour? And this is just my opinion. You might have something much better already going on, and I would be happy to learn from you what it is, because this is just something that helps me and it helps keep me in focused. So I think it's time management, right? I actually do set a timer, and when I'm working with team members, I look, okay, 5 minutes. We're going to take the next 5 minutes, and I time it, and we're going to just reach out to people. Not about Isagenix, just to reach out to people, just to communicate with people. So for me personally, setting a timer is really helpful, and it might be that you do, so if you'd like to give it a try. So one of the things that I do is I set a timer for 15 minutes, and all that 15 minutes I'm going to do is I'm going to be on Facebook, and I'm going to comment on people's posts. Nothing about Isagenix, really. Just commenting on people's posts, whatever it may be, whatever's going on in their life, enjoying it, making sure I wish whoever's birthday it is a happy birthday, that type of thing. And I think you guys already know all that, but I do think if you set a time, 15 minutes, and you're just going to do it, or 10 minutes, whatever is better for you, just do that for that time. And it's amazing how productive you get and how many people you've connected with. Because really, to me, we're in business with connecting. By doing that also, the possibilities of them seeing what you're posting on Facebook are higher. Okay? So that's also a nice bonus, right? You want them to see what you're posting, because eventually one of your posts is going to be about Isagenix, or how you're feeling so great. And the hope is they're going to wonder, what is it that you're doing? I'll say, okay, the next 5 minutes, let's find people to friend. It could be looking at other people's friends and seeing like, oh, I know that person, I want to connect with that person. So I'll just take time and I'll look and see and friend request 5 people. I mean, it could be 10 people, whatever it is at the time. I just throw a number out of my head. I always take a little time for that too. So time management. So that'd be right there. That's 20 minutes, let's say. Then I would take about 10 minutes to private message people. This, you got to start thinking a little bit more. I'm not private messaging them about Isagenix unless someone's reaching out to me and asking me about it. I'm private messaging people the benefit for us is that it changes the algorithm, and there's even a higher likelihood they'll see your posts, right? So I try to private message, take 10 minutes, and I'm just going to go through and I haven't talked to that person in a while, and I'll just check in. How are your kids doing? Maybe do you want to meet for coffee sometime? Just connecting. Again, we're in the business of connecting, right? So not only do you connect with them, but it gives them the opportunity to see your posts. So that's something that I do. Then I take time. Let's say you take 5 to 10 minutes, go to Greater Nutrition, Greater Results, or XHP, whichever one you're utilizing more, or whatever your team page. I'm trying to get more energy to Greater Nutrition, Greater Results personally, so I'm trying to get my team more there, but I still have a lot of people on XHP. So, I'm still kind of trying to figure that one out. But I think it's really important that we all bring value to that. It's not like a few people's jobs. It's all of our jobs. If you can post one thing a day that brings value to the page, it could be it could be a podcast. It could be an email on health. It could be a recipe. It could be, you with the little video with your Ionics, whatever it may be. It's so important for us to bring value to that page. I just think it's our responsibility to do it. So if you can at least post one time on that really helps all of us. And sometimes I find inspiration by looking at other people that inspire me, and I'll kind of see what they're doing, and I'll copy something like it. Like I'll do a spin-off of what they're doing. And sometimes I'll go into Greater Nutrition, Greater Results, and I'll think, God, I had a good post once. What was it? And I'll think of it. I'll find it in the little Google section, and then I might like it, because then it'll bring it back to the top of the page. If I think it's a good, relevant topic that people find interesting, we hope they find interesting, right? So adding value to the page, I think, is super important. Then what I do is I look in my back office. I go to my team, and for me, I go to first the consultants, and I look at where they are and do they need my support? How might they need my support? I think reaching out every so often to them, letting them know you're there for 3-way calls, letting them know you're there to help goal set, letting them know you're there for them. That's really important to me. And you hope your team really appreciates that, because it really, energy in, energy out, right? The energy you give in, the energy you get out. So reaching out to first I look at the consultants, because that's all that shows. It really doesn't show manager and all that. But, and then I go down, and then I'm looking at personally enrolled. I see, I look at who have I personally enrolled that I should reach out to that I haven't reached out to a while. Again, it could be just a little private message, checking in, how are you doing? I just think it's really important, and it gets you to get to know your team better, right? So, and making sure they know you're available for 3-way calls, maybe even having specific times open that you're able to do it. I haven't been utilized a whole lot with 3-way calls. I have with some. I would love to do it more. I would love to do it every day, one every day if I could. But knowing that you're there for them is pretty important. So that's going to be about an hour, really. And if you set the timer, 10 minutes, I'm going to do this. 5 minutes, I'm going to do this. You'll be amazed at how much more you get done. Especially for me personally, if I don't set a timer, I'm off doing dishes, or I'm off doing who knows, I could be anywhere. I got chickens in the backyard. I'm out messing with my chickens. I get really scattered. So and you think about, I can do anything in 15 minutes, right? You can do anything in 15 minutes. So just set that time aside, set it and go. And I think when you manage your time like that, you're golden. Now, I've never had I have another job, but I would love to hear from someone that does this full time exactly what their day looks like, because that'd be awesome. Now, I personally think it's important to look deeper too. So sometimes I'll click on somebody and I'll see like, oh my gosh, they have a person that's ordering 450 business volume, but they're an associate. They just might not know that they could sign up their husband and a friend and then start cycling. They just might not know that. So I like to reach out to them too. Just these people I'm getting to know, they're part of the team. I like to reach out to them just to let them know that if they have questions, I'm there for them, right? And you know, I think I'm not saying anything. I think most of you already know this and do this, but I think it's also good to hear it, to kind of, yes, ignite that, to do it again. And I know for me, summer's totally different. My schedule is completely out of whack, but setting that timer is a game changer for me, at least for that hour. So I think we're all going to start a 90-day plan. So before we get Dan talking, the 90-day plan is going to come out again. And I think it'd be great if we do some goal setting. And Dan mentioned this yesterday, and I think it's a really good point. Figure out what is the week every month where they're having a special giveaway, and do the launch parties around that. So I think in August, so September, October, November. Wait, is it September, October, November? 90 day. When does the 90 days start? I'm not sure. I think it's in the middle of August.
August 22nd.
August 27th?
22nd.
Okay, so
22nd.
okay. So August 22nd. So August 22nd. I've said this before, and I think you probably have heard it before, but it's good for me to hear it again. Hopefully it's good for you to hear it again. Write down your goals. Writing it down is so much more powerful. Have your goals changed now from the last time you set goals? So reevaluate your goals and find a buddy. Find a buddy. Like, oh, here's my buddy. He just came found me. That's Cooper. Find a buddy to help you be accountable with your goals. And I think we need to do a launch party that week, every month, a big one. You can do little ones in between. I always do that, but getting with a group and making that happen, I think, is really important. But finding a buddy for accountability makes you more successful at it. And if you set up like a call with that buddy once a week, like, these are my goals, and this is what I want to attain this week. How do you make that happen? It just makes it work. So find a buddy. We all need a buddy, right? Let's see if I have anything else to say about that. Wrote down your goals. Oh, writing down action commitments makes it more real, makes it more like it's going to happen if you write down your action commitments, and then your weekly progress, writing it all down. If you write down your goals, write down your action commitments to make those goals happen, and then share with your buddy the weekly progress, it's 76% chance that it's more accountable than if you didn't do that. So there you go. Let's see. I think Dan's up. Because I want to hear numbers.
Hey, thanks a lot. Just one thing about reaching down on your team. It's funny. I'll name her Jill. Jill Miker's on the call or whatever, and I reached down to one of her personally enrolled. It's funny. I said the exact same message that Jill's been saying to her for weeks and weeks and weeks, and I said, you've stockpiled this business volume, and you could do this, that. And I said, if all you have to do is just make sure that, and it was a family member, orders over 100 BV to become active to get her back to consultant rank. And, you'll make, 6 or 7 cycles or whatever it was. And Jill literally says to me, I've been telling her that for days. And clearly Jill's just calling me out saying, like, I haven't noticed. Of course she's noticed, but, I just threw it out there. And I included Jill on that message just so it's a 3-way conversation, so it doesn't like leapfrog that person. And she said, okay, so what exactly do I have to do? And Jill's like, oh my goodness. I explained it to her 1,000 times, but it just was a different voice. And it was someone who, said a different message. And of course, then when she ordered like 86 BV. It wasn't enough or whatever. And at that point in time, that's like, all right, Jill, go after it. That's your person and get it done. So what I'm going to do today is give you a little bit about my background and very little bit. And that is, I'm a school principal. I've been in education for 20 years, not at all in sales or network marketing or what have you. Just kind of fell into it. So the first part of what I'm going to share with you is kind of weird because I'm going to say, how to treat Isogenics like a business. Well, it's funny. I've never been in business. So then I'm going to transition. After talking about a business, I'm going to ask you for a moment to treat Isogenics like an education. Okay. And that's what I know. I don't put doctor on a lot of my Isogenic stuff because I don't want people to think like I know medical questions. I've got a PhD in research. So yeah, I have a doctor before that, but so I know a lot more about education than I do about business, but it's interesting. As soon as I combine the two of them, my business has kind of taken off and my mindset around the business and our team has done well. So really what I want to talk about starting out is this message is going to be 3 different messages for 3 very different kinds of people. Okay. The first one is if you were enrolled by an absolute powerhouse, superstar, amazing person who knows the product and the business. And I know a lot of you guys aren't showing your pictures and that's okay. But if you can, using the chat feature or whatever, feel free to say, that's me, or raise your hand. If you were enrolled by a powerhouse, when I say powerhouse, I'm going to say they're probably an executive or they're a director and they're cycling very well. So just either by a show of hands or in the chat button, who has been enrolled by an absolute powerhouse? Anybody enrolled by someone who's they're personally the person who enrolled them is a director or higher or an executive or higher?
Mm-hmm.
Anybody?
Oh, I got an executive.
Okay. So Heidi Durka
Me.
was enrolled by a rock star. Okay. Jill, were you enrolled by a rock star? No. Okay then.
I was.
Okay. What I would say is if you were enrolled by a rock star, really what I want you to think about for a second is your business is like a franchise. Okay. Whereas when you're a franchise, you kind of fall under the kind of rules and expectations and guidelines of the people that have come before you. There's some huge benefits to that because there's already systems in place. And a lot of us, I'll be honest with you, are jealous of those people that are enrolled by franchises. Okay. And my story is I was not enrolled by a rock star. Okay. I'm just being candid. And we'll get to that in a second. But if you're enrolled with a rock star, one way to find out, there are people under you early on that you've never met before. You have no idea where they came from. Okay. In fact, the first time that someone went under me, because I started and I wasn't interested in building, I actually called up the guy who enrolled me and I said, hey, I did it to be ethical. I was like, man, I feel bad about this, but I think you put somebody in the wrong spot because they're under me. And I didn't know anything about this. So if you're enrolled under a rock star, here's some of the benefits to that. Okay. Like a franchise, you have expectations, you have rules, you have systems already in place, and you kind of can follow their lead. The one thing that when you're enrolled underneath a rock star, there's always this question of, okay, do I put someone on my outside or inside leg or my team leg or focus leg or right or left or that sort of thing? If you're enrolled by a rock star, your natural tendency is going to be, okay, this rock star is going to take care of this team leg and get all this business volume. So I'm going to hammer my inside leg to cycle. That's absolutely your natural instinct. And why wouldn't it be? Okay, you're going to cycle and you're going to make $54 And I even fall into that trap when I enroll someone under me and I say, okay, I'm going to put you on my focus leg and I'm going to take care of your outside. You just need to take care of your inside. That is absolutely short-sighted. Okay? Without a doubt, short-sighted. And I'll explain why here shortly. If you are enrolled by a rock star and you are building up only your inside leg, then what you're going to do is you're going to find yourself cycling, making a couple of dollars, a few cycles to single cycles to a few cycles a week, and you are going to outcycle your friends, no doubt about it. But when it comes to rank advancing, you're going to become a manager and maybe a director if you're building in that inside leg. But here is the huge problem. As soon as you want to become an executive and grow your business and make significant money as an executive, you need to flip your attention to your then team leg. And the challenge to this, and a lot of you might say, I don't know what the difference is between team and outside and inside, and that's okay. What I'm going to hopefully summarize here at the end is about where your balance needs to come from. If you are enrolling only on your inside team leg, if you're under a rock star to cycle, right when you need to enroll people to become consultants on your team leg, you are absolutely going to abandon the people. They need you to say, okay, I've enrolled someone who's absolutely fantastic. So the challenge to this is, as soon as you want to rank advance, you are going to switch your focus from a focus or inside leg to a team leg, and that simply doesn't support your team, okay? So how do you do, if you're enrolled under a rock star, what do you do different? As soon as you put someone on your team based on a demographic, an example, you keep your work friends together, your family friends, your church, your social groups, your drinking buddies, your high school friends, your card friend, your fantasy football team, your whoever it is. Put those people together, and when you place someone, because logistically they're going to support each other on your team, when you place them by logistics instead of to cycle, you know you did it right. Okay? So my caution is, if you're under a rock star, we're all jealous of those people that were under rock stars because these people are cycling very well. But when it comes to growing and rank advancing, the short-sighted side is they're only building up their inside to cycle, and they're not building up both sexy legs, so to speak, as Joe Bowman and Kathy Coover talk about. Okay? So that's if you build under a rock star. That's not very common. Now, the second part of us is if you are enrolled by someone who provides balance for your tree, so to speak, is basically between your team leg or outside leg and your one or two enrollments or whatever over there, it balances at the end of the week. You're kind of cycling, and maybe you have 300 BV stored on one leg, and you have a 600 leg, 300 leg, and it flips back and forth, back and forth. How many people say, you know what, I was enrolled by someone who kind of balances me out, and at the end of the week, I don't store a whole lot of business volume, carry a lot of business volume, I kind of cycle equally. How many people say, yep, I don't have 30,000 business volumes, but they help me cycle and it balances me out? How many is that? Anyone like that? Okay, I see 3 or 4 people. Here's my suggestion here. If you are enrolled by someone who helps balance you out, and again, if this doesn't at all make sense to you, then you're the third kind of person, and I'll get to you in a second. You're like me. Instead of a franchise, you kind of have a partnership. Okay, again, we're trying to do this business model that they help you, and what you end up doing is you enroll maybe 3 or 4 or 5 people on your team leg, or excuse me, on your focus leg or inside leg, and then you put one over on the team leg, say, yeah, oh, that's right. Man, and we think to ourselves, wow, my inside leg is actually outproducing my team leg. Okay, so a lot of us are in that situation. The challenge with this is you might cycle once or twice, but similarly, as soon as you create this inside leg that is significant and it actually is outperforming your team leg, then what you're going to have to do again, as soon as you start seeing some cycles, you're like, wow, I'm really paying for my product now. This is fantastic. And at the end of the week, You're not carrying over business volume. We have people on our team that absolutely outcycle so many other people. They don't have a very high rank, and they haven't rank advanced because all they did was focus on their inside leg, and they didn't create any balance. So really the challenge to those people who say, you know what, at the end, my BV is pretty stable and I'm cycling pretty well. I'm paying for my product. Okay. What I want to explain about that is in those people are getting a return, and I'm going to talk a little bit of numbers, and I say this is kind of my phobia to my team. I don't talk money and I don't talk numbers money to my team very often, and I need to get out of my own head. This is, the Team Shady conversation, and I was asked to speak. So let's talk a little bit of numbers. If you are cycling and you have balance and you're not carrying over a lot of business volume, for every $54 you make from cycling, it takes 900 business volumes, 300, 600, 300, 600. It's not perfect math, but that's about a 6% return. Now, again, yes, there's more BV to dollars, and we can agree 6% return is better than a guaranteed 4%. And I don't need to talk stocks and mutuals and all this, whatever, but a 6% return is pretty good. What I want to talk about, Jill Bowman, and again, we've all watched her, and okay, she's amazing, and there's no doubt about it. But she posted something was just, my jaw absolutely dropped because I'm in such a hurry to make money and to provide for my family and change my financial blueprint. But she talked about, again, instead of inside, outside, she talked about creating a money leg. Okay? And a money leg, she said it takes 2 to 5 years to create a money leg. Okay? And what is a money leg? It is the leg that is always going to be your 600 leg. It's always going to be, now that could be your outside leg, your inside leg, depending on where you're at. If you've got an absolute powerhouse that enrolled you and your team leg is just hammering it and they're enrolling a ton of people, that's probably your money leg. Okay. And those are the ones that I said, okay, then you're going to create this inside leg. But if you're working with your enrollee and you're not carrying over business volume, what I'm here to tell you is you are making 6% on your investment in Isogenics. 6% isn't bad. Doesn't suck. I'm going to explain and wrap up who the third person is, and then I'm going to give you an idea or strategy of what you could consider. If you are enrolled by a sharer, I don't even want to call them a builder, and that is the person shared with you. And for the record, being candid here, I have 1,200 people under me, and right now I am at an all-time low, whereas the person that enrolled me has 1 active person under me. And our team is 1,200, okay? I have 900 people on my inside leg because I focused on supporting them. And no doubt about it, that inside leg is my 600 leg. It's my money leg. And it took me under 2 years to get it there, okay? But now I have supported that team where they are supporting each other and themselves. Now, here's some math for you. If you have a 600 leg, okay, you've built a money leg, whether it's your team leg or on your own. When you can focus on your other leg, again, you can't abandon them as long as it's large enough. As soon as you focus on your other leg and you have a 300 leg, when you can cycle for 300 business volumes, $54 divided by 300 is an 18% return on your investment. So what I'm going to say to you right now, those of you that are out cycling your friend because you have amazing tree balance, you're like, man, 600, 300, 600, 300, you're getting a 6% return, and yet you're getting more money today than the person 10 miles down the road or 2 states across the road. But, and I always talk about left side problems. I look at my orders and I never have even orders. And I have right now 170,000 business volumes on my inside leg. I just do. Okay. But anything that happens when the wind changes direction on my 300 leg, I get an 18% return. Now, here's the jaw dropper. Why in the world do you enroll your spouse on your inside leg? or on your 300 leg, on your least productive leg, okay? And this is about to get silly. If you have a 600 money leg and your spouse is on your 300 leg, and that 300 leg is taking care of business, you're supporting your people on that. What's going to happen when you build inside your spouse? Your spouse's money leg is your 300 leg. When you build inside your spouse, for 300 business volumes, your spouse will cycle for $54. Your spouse is going to get an 18% return on their money. And you're going to cycle for $50 to $4 and make an 18% return on your money. You are going to get a 36% return on your money when you build inside your spouse. Here's the problem. It takes 2 to 5 years to build a money leg. So says Jill Bowman, who kind of knows what she's talking about. I thought I was smarter than Isogenics, and I put people inside my wife early on because I'm like, okay, she's going to cycle, I'm going to cycle. And then I realized I wasn't supporting them. They weren't growing, and they left and fell off the wayside. That wasn't fair to them. So here's where I'm going to say transition and think of Isogenics instead of like a business, like an education. If Isogenics was college, your freshman year, if you got a 6% return on your investment, and that is by building both legs equally, okay, or 2 or 3 on your inside, 1 on the outside, not 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 on your inside because your team leg is taking care of you. That's basically you're saying, yep, 6% is good enough for me. But if you can build equally and support both sides, in your freshman year, can we agree to getting a 6% return while you're a freshman? I didn't make any money. I've got a $250,000 education. I've been in 4, 6, 8, 11 years in higher education, and I wrote a book that 4 people read. Okay, one's my mom. My investment in Isogenics is $320. Okay, and I make $960 a year extra because I have a PhD. So a 6% return your freshman year is pretty good. So those of you that just, again, by show of hands or chat or what have you, I am in my 18th month in Isogenics. I am a sophomore in Isogenics. And now I'm making 18% on my return on my investment because I've built a 600 leg that is self-sufficient, and I support them either with my time, my energy, with business volume, or money by buying products or whatever it is. I've created that 600 team, and they are not left hanging because I need them. But when I enroll on my 300 side or create BV, I'm getting an 18% return in my sophomore year. My junior year, which in December 3rd, I'm going to become a junior. Again, now I'm transitioning Isogenics to education. My junior year, I'm prepared to make an 18% return, maybe 36. Not yet, because my team still needs my support on that 300 leg. Okay, so my challenge to you on this is, and as we talk about the 90-day game plan, whether you're enrolled by an absolute rock star, whether you're enrolled by someone who helps balance you out, or whether you have to build both sides, the first thing that I absolutely would suggest, you worry less about business volume and more about builders on both sides. As soon as you have builders on both sides, create a money leg. If you look at the end of the week and you have balance and you're cycling and everything's leveling out, what I'm going to tell you is you are a cycle monster, but you're making 6%. And if you hold off this gratification of $54 for like a 90-day game plan, and if after 90 days, if you have levels, think, you know what, I'm going to hammer, both sides, hammer support, but I'm going to create my own money leg. Because as soon as you do, anything you do and focus on the other side is going to get you an 18% return. I have no idea what time it is. Okay. If you have a 600 leg, again, whether it's your outside leg, inside leg, a strong leg, a 600 leg to me means at the end of the week, no matter how many times you cycled or not, you have several thousand business volumes carried over. Okay. So who has, and feel free to say chat, raise hand, or I don't know, who now has a 600 leg that even if they hammered a 90-day game plan, they guarantee they're going to still have business volume on one side because they can't make it move. Anyone? I have a 600 leg. Anyone else have a 600 leg that they can't? Miker has one. Durka, you were enrolled by a rock star. Do you have a 600 leg? Is your team leg much higher than your focus leg or inside? Okay, Andrea. Okay, so if you have that 600 leg, please know that any investment that you do with your time, energy, and effort on your 300 leg, you are getting an 18% return. Okay, so when we talk about incentives and rank advancements and that sort of thing, again, if you have left side problems like I did, think about that. Where are you at in your isogenics journey? How many have been here for more than 4 years? Anybody? Okay, and it makes sense because Brent's on his about 4th year of building. How many of us want to be like April, other than just because she's amazing? She's in the middle of her junior year. She may have just graduated. She may have started graduate school. In fact, her graduate class may have been in Maui last summer. Okay, Jessica, last time I checked, Jessica from Wisconsin went to Arizona. She's an absolute stud. Okay, Heidi, how long has she been on? Is she going on her 3rd year? You're muted, so that's okay. Feel free with a number. Randy, do you have any idea how long Jessica's been on? 2 years? So she started her in the middle of her junior year. Okay, and she went to Maui. Okay, and she was enrolled by a stud. But the only way you get to Maui is if you have balance with your builders. Okay, so questions about the return: 6%, 18%, 36%. When's the right time? I joke about this. Closest thing to a fist fight I've had in this business. Someone wanted to quickly enroll their spouse to become the fist fight that I mentioned is because I made the exact same mistake because I thought I was smarter than isogenics. I wanted to get this 36% return right away, and I didn't build. I just focused on my needs, and that just didn't work for me. Okay? Questions on that? I haven't looked at the chat at all. Okay? Questions, thoughts? Okay. Last thing that I have, 90-day game plan. Okay. August 22nd, jot that date down. Team Shady will end up having some type of incentive program. One thing I wanted to also mention is clearly this message today was for people that aren't really interested in telling me, okay, tell me the difference between a 1-day cleanse and a 2-day cleanse and a nightly cleanse and that sort of thing. But Brent's video, if you haven't listened to it today, this is critically important. And that is all the conversation about enrollments and 600 and 300 leg and that sort of thing. When we talk and we drill down and talk to our people about this, and I didn't really understand it, but some guy from Michigan was talking about he's making 36% on it. Understand that I'm also the same person that said it takes 2 to 5 years to create a 600 leg. So if it takes that long to create a money leg, then it's probably going to take another 2 years to get a 36% return or what have you. Isogenics wants to emphasize and clearly communicate that the product users, the only way you get that business volume is if you have tremendous product users. I thought our team, because our team solidarity was so good, that we were better than Isagenix numbers. I said, oh, if it's a general rule of 85% are Isagenix users, then we've got to be 50-50, whatever. I looked at my personally enrolled, and I think I had like 90 enrollments or so and 22 consultants. So do that math. At best, I'm at 75% users and 25% builders at best. So please applaud our product users, and please watch Brent's video from today. He emphasized this. There's another multi-level marketing company that has been a focus of being very critical about not promoting the product, it being a consumable product, and focusing just primarily on enrollments. And that's hopefully not what we're about. Okay. So 90-day game plan, I believe it's going to start August 22nd. There's usually 3 launch weeks. Very difficult to predict before we see the document, but as soon as the 90-day game plan, you can order them from Isagenix, or you can go into your back office and print them out. And then it forecasts usually the 3 launch weeks. The first one is usually free enrollment. So that's $29 savings. The second one is free shipping up to $25. And then the third one typically is a coupon that they can use for a future order. So those are considerations if you're looking to build your business, build your teams. I would get that 90-day game plan, focus those as your launch party weeks. But one thing to keep in mind is in a 12 that can't happen. Okay, you need to support your people differently. So, any other questions, Heidi, or any other dialogue?
I just got a quick question, and maybe you already answered it, but it just so we understand well. So if you're kind of, you just want to build evenly until what point that you get the money leg?
Yeah, well, a couple of things. There's very different strategies on how to do this, but go back to number one, what your goals are. Okay, and understand we all are at different positions. Some of us are enrolled by rock stars and not. The one thing that I would emphasize, and Brent actually believes this to be true as well. Those of you that have researched Herb and Patty Cepeda, they have a very different approach. Here's something silly. Ready for this? Their approach is, if you're going to enroll in their team, your first 2 enrollments, 1 on each side, then your next 8 enrollments, so 9 of your first 10, ready for this? Go on your team leg. They said, because ultimately they want everyone to create a money leg right away and support each other. Okay, where Brent and I agree, and we differ on this, is we have a kind of a clientele, to be honest with you, that wants free shakes. So if I enrolled 9 people on my team, and I cycled 1 time every other month, and I enrolled 10 people, that doesn't motivate me. Okay, so my suggestion here, if you have the financial wherewithal that you can load up your team leg and notice all these people are getting the support from each other, that's great, and you've just created a money leg. And again, this is just me talking. Herb Cepeda, who's the number 1 last year, number 1 and 2 this year, he has a different approach. And I think he has the financial wherewithal to say, you know what, I'll postpone cycling to put 10 people on a team to support each other. But what I suggest, as soon as you can predictably have free product to sustain your membership in Isagenix, where you're cycling predictably 1 to 2 times a week, then I would say, without question, be prepared to even up your builders. Again, there's 2 different things here. You want a 600 leg, 300 leg, a money leg, what have you. But ultimately, that's kind of my way of saying, don't just put everybody on your inside leg, because when you flip over to your team leg, you no longer will support them. Okay, so the other way to say this is before you build on, or move to a leg that you're not supporting, there must be at least 2 builders that are supporting each other. So look at your own circumstance. That's ultimately my way of saying if you have one leg that is absolutely uneven to the other, in the long run, that's a great thing. And yeah, I didn't think it was a great thing for a very, very long time. And even it frustrates me, no doubt about it, that I'm looking at 170,000 business volume. Man, I want to chip away. But that's better than not having that business volume up there. Okay. So my concern is those that are loading up on their inside leg, if they have this team leg to benefit from, it's okay to build on both sides, defer cycling to make your own contribution to a team leg, because when you have 5, to be an executive, you need 5 consultants on each side. And imagine if you had 5 consultants on your inside and then you absolutely abandon that leg entirely and you switched over to the other side. Here's a tough problem. When you need BV on one side, you need builders on the other. Yeah. You know what that's like. So where do you put your next person? If you build evenly on your own for your own personal enrollments, then that's less likely to happen. Okay. Other questions? Okie dokie.
Wait, I have a question.
Okay.
I guess I'm kind of confused because so for a money leg, you are stacking a leg. So you are putting numerous people on one side.
Yeah. The money, ultimately, again, the money leg, and Linda, you and I have talked about this, where we're very, very similar, where if you, a money leg typically, and again, that was the Bowman reference, is an outside leg of someone who has a contributing person below them, okay, or above them. So what I've done for my money leg has turned into my inside leg, because I put people evenly, my builders evenly, and then as soon as I was getting, in essence, free product, where they were counteracting and balancing each other, then I loaded up to create, in essence, a money leg. Okay, so I guess my point to this also thinking about is for the people that have other people being placed under them, and again, you and I are very different here. Look to balance your builders, and then as soon as you have balance with builders, don't be afraid. And this is my number one thing on tree placement, is always place people in the demographics that they know each other and can support each other. And I've seen this on our team, that people that have great tree position are stacking up just their inside leg because they're short-sighted and they want to cycle. They want to take advantage of that outside leg. And what I would say is, again, enroll. Again, it doesn't have to be 1 for 1, but if it's 2 or 3 on your inside to 1 on your outside. But I have people that have enrolled 1 or 2 people on a team league and 9, 10, 11, 12 on their inside leg. And it's just not working for them. And they're not cycling, and they wonder why. Because their people on their team leg aren't being supported. Okay. So in essence, the point behind this too is, if you are contributing to this team leg that you have, in the long run, it will pay off exponentially with an 18% return if you can ride it out, okay? If you can get there. But if you're cycling and you're not carrying over business volume, and that's, in this message that I'm sharing for people, it's going to be a different message for everyone because we're all in different situations. But when it comes to developing your team, I would say if you can develop both, if you're not carrying over business volume, find a way to do it. Find a way to say, you know what, in a 90-day game plan between now and Thanksgiving, I'm going to create this massive money leg. So in December, January, and February, if I do anything on my other side, it's going to change my business model. Okay. The best timing to do this, those of you that are not yet directors or executive, imagine getting into, I understand not everybody understands the director and executive pools, but imagine if you get into a pool play where anytime you cycle over what Isogenics predicts you to cycle, that instead of the cycle being $54, let's say it's going to be 54 plus a share value, like $100, or that cycle would be $200. And again, this is totally to a lot of people on the director pool, but if you become a director and you have a money leg, you can make thousands of dollars because you can take advantage of that money leg by working and focusing on your 300 leg to cycle above your benchmark. Okay. Anyway, I don't expect everyone to understand what that is, but if you can defer placing people just to cycle and build up business volume, that's my way of saying at some point in time during your sophomore, junior, or senior year in your Isogenics University, pun intended, you will get an 18% return. And that you need to be able to carry over business volume at the end of the month. And those of you that are cycling fairly well and you're flipping your tree back and forth, you're out cycling your friends. Be excited about it. But you're getting a 6% return on that volume and the opportunities. If you have a money leg, if you have some carryover business volume, the opportunities exist for some significant growth down the road. Any other questions, thoughts?
So your recommendation is if you're pretty even on your legs, start taking a money leg. Because I always think of when I sign someone up, I was like, oh, who's going to benefit from this? Like I look at, oh, I'm excited. Oh, so-and-so is going to get the business volume. And I think of like that way. But if you're pretty even, you think you should just go with one of the legs and hammer time?
My number one rule is always going to be demographics. And evidently my wife's making a shake.
Is that your sister?
Tree placement, I think there's so many factors with this. I guess I just wanted to share the mentality and the idea about, incentivizing growth and when I say incentivizing growth, with your time, your products, your energy and your effort, that to me is incentivizing growth. To put that time and energy on a leg that perhaps might already be outperforming your other leg is still a great investment. Okay. So again, I'm not the authority on saying, okay, then hammer your leg, what have you. I'll just, I don't know, out of our 1,200 on our team, we have about 900 on one side and 300 on the other. And I just flipped building the 300 on the other side about 3 months ago because that one leg can sustain itself now. But you better believe who are my strongest people on our team? No doubt about it. My money leg. Those are the people I can count on. And they have their own builders within that team. Anything else?
I just wanted to say that I really appreciate your focus on the social circles, and that's one good takeaway from me tonight because I've heard that.
What's that? I'm sorry. My wife is still making that shake.
Oh, sorry. Your takeaway on grouping people by their social circles. So even think Lena had that experience. I remember her sharing that she had kind of started grouping them together and split them. And then, she, and Lena, if I'm misspeaking, let me know. But, and she, I think, regretted doing that. So that's one takeaway I wrote down tonight for me. You'll be aware of the social circles and kind of group them together.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I just had a relatively new consultant on her team, that she has her husband in the perfect spot, first person she enrolled on her inside, but she's ready to enroll their daughter. And she was like, so I should probably put my daughter on the team leg, on the outside leg, so she can benefit from all of that business volume, you know? And what a great idea in theory for her daughter, but ultimately, as I shared with her, is don't split up your family. Have your daughter with your husband, you know, because 2 or 3 years from now, your daughter is going to be the money leg for your husband, and you're going to make 36%. Now, I didn't talk about that with her. That's so far down the road. But keeping your family together in that demographic, so that we can, you know, go to family functions and support each other and what have you, that's invaluable. Any other questions?
Yeah, just curious. Ew.
What, did you want more? I think we
Is
have.
that Tim the question or not? No. Okay. Looks like we're at 10:04, so we're 4 minutes past, and I want to respect your time. Does anyone, certainly expectation would be that we would finish at this time and respect your time with your families. However, as Brent would often do, I'm happy to stay on the line. I'm sure Heidi's happy to stay on the line. If there's any additional questions, but if not,
Oh, sorry.
Team Heidi, how many people are going to be in Vegas with either Click? Team Shady Party Saturday night.
Sorry,
If you can make it. Eric Worry, leadership managers and above, free training on Sunday. Yeah, good time. All right, thank you guys so much. Again, we'll stay on if you have any additional questions or comments. And have a great Tuesday. So hopefully see you Saturday to many of you.
We will see it.
I'm fine. Just stop talking about it. Would be the best thing.
Thanks, guys.
Asking you if you're okay. Sorry, Kate.
No, honey.
I didn't know you were right there. I couldn't.
Heidi. And the best part is that's recorded.
I couldn't help myself.
Jane, don't.
What are you doing, Heidi? Jane, I'm not telling.
Just
I
don't.
will. I'll show you in Vegas, Jane.
Well, evidently the adult. Oh, wait. I got to stop recording. Oh, man.
Hand behind your back.
My back.
Did he make me the host?
I think I understood it all, but I gotta process it.
I'm so
The
sorry.
whole 36% back, you know, I still gotta.
Never do that.
Takes me a while.
Right there.
Yeah. And again, I wish I could stop recording. But ultimately,
You don't avoid that at all.
the concern that I would say about talking about 36% is I think that's where people can get into trouble when they say, okay, boy, if you do isogenics, then you can get a 36% return. And I'm here to tell you, it's a long time. 36% return means your outside leg and inside leg, without your support, are going to be functioning on their own and providing enough business volume to satisfy everyone to maintain themselves. Okay. And then you start building inside of your spouse. But my concern about building inside your spouse too soon is you think that the legs are going to sustain themselves, and without your support on either leg, they fall off. Okay. Your people need to get paid and need to build and help each other before you can even begin to think about that. But that's the part, if we stop worrying about, cycling, okay, I'm going to place this someone here to cycle and that sort of thing. If you're thinking, how do I get my people paid? so they can sustain themselves, then you can do something like that. So out of our 1,200, I had one person, actually the one person I put inside my wife or whatever, Jill's was the same way. We have a builder inside of our spouse on accident. And for 6 months, he built both legs on his own. And right now, I probably have placed 4 or 5 people inside my wife, and now he's got business volume on his team leg, which is my wife's inside leg. He's got about 14 or 15,000 business volumes now. But it took 18 months for me to even place one person there, but I told him ahead of time, I'm not going to do it, because I'm not going to try to this 36% return, because my people need to go under that. So
Here's the thing tomorrow.
yeah.
Here's the thing in shower.
So
Good stuff. Thank you.
Take the
yeah,
wall.
that's a good advantage where Jill's an example where Jill Miker, her spouse is on her money leg. And what she needs to ultimately try to do is, good problem to have, flip her tree before she enrolls people under her spouse. And good luck flipping that tree.
15, 16,
So.
17,
Okay.
18.
All right. Well, I don't know how to cancel the recording, so this record button.
You don't need any?
This is paid today.
Recording will be converted. Yeah. Okay. So clicking that record button would have been a great thing to stop it.
Paid the ATV.
Any other questions? Jill, I'm done recording, so you can say inappropriate things.
Jane will. She's inappropriate all the time.
I say nothing inappropriate ever.
I'm excited about Jane logging all that mileage, so every dollar she's going to make in Isogenics this year is still recording. Okay. Pause to stop recording.
I think Brent has to do that.
But I think he switched over. The recording will be converted. Okay. Okay. There, it's at least paused. Brent doesn't want to miss anything. Okay. So, Jane, how many miles did you log going to Wisconsin and back, and Linden and back, and yeah. So there you go. Okay. Anything else?
Have a good night, guys.
All right. Take care. Thanks for tuning in.
Thank you.